Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sleep and Relax ASMR. If you've read the title of this episode, then you know what awaits you. Shortly, I will begin to ask you a series of pointless, useless, silly questions with the intention of asking you so many that eventually your only escape is to doze off into a nice, deep sleep. The questions come courtesy of pairedlife.com, among other sources, but I'm sure you don't care, do you? Does that count as question number 1? And if so, does that last question count as number 2? And for that matter, is that now number 3? Well, okay, whatever. I'll get serious again. Let's get serious into these random questions. Feel free to not only answer these questions silently in your head, but also out loud so that your partner or sibling or your coworker hears you and wonders why you're giving answers to nonsensical questions. I will occasionally provide my ramble commentary for some of these questions, since this may as well be a team exercise that we work on together. So, let's start here with some very important questions. What's your favorite dinosaur? And then after you've identified that and given your answer, what are some of your guilty pleasures that you're willing to admit? I'm not sure if I can think of any guilty pleasure I do. I'm usually okay with sharing my hobbies and all that. Perhaps my guilty pleasure is enjoying a few scoops of ice cream every night after I finish dinner. Curious to know what yours would be. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? For me, it would probably be some kind of maybe like a stuffed ravioli or something like that. One day you can have cheese, one day with lobster, a nice day, maybe just a spinach ravioli the day after. I don't know, maybe grilled cheese could be it, I don't know. You have to kind of think about the durability. I mean, I love sushi. I don't know if I could have sushi every day for the rest of my life, but maybe I could. The very next very important question is, what conspiracy theories do you believe in? I'm not a whole lot of fun for this one because I don't really follow or believe in too many conspiracy theories. Not because I don't think they couldn't exist, but I enjoy keeping myself busy with work and friends and family, and I usually don't like the mental exercise of exploring these types of things, but I love hearing about conspiracy theories. I'm just not very original when it comes to me coming up with one for myself. But yeah, feel free to share your favorite conspiracy theory with me and we'll discuss it. Would you rather own a dragon or be a dragon? What's your Wi-Fi password? Do you brag about the random acts of kindness you perform? Think of someone who you suspect or doesn't like you. What do you think they think about you? And I'll repeat that question just in case my kind of mumbling voice right now isn't quite very eligible or legible or audible or whatever the case may be. But I repeat, think of someone who you suspect or doesn't like you. What do you think they think about you? See, when I assembled this question, I thought it was quite interesting. I had never really given this much thought. I suspect that people that don't like me probably think I am condescending when I don't mean to be, and they think I'm sarcastic during times I also don't mean to be. See, I try to say things in a way that makes it very clear what I think and why I think that way. And I've understood people sometimes think that what I'm doing is I'm being condescending. In other words, I'm kind of over explaining myself, and they think, well, I'm not slow. I can understand what you're saying. But again, it's not that I'm trying to be condescending. It's that I want to get my point across so clearly that there's no room for ambiguity. But my cousin tells me that often that I talk and I say things in a way that can come across that way. So for people that don't like me, my guess is they probably think the same, that I'm a little bit condescending when it comes to that. But I guess you just never really know. Would you rather wear shoes every single second for the rest of your life, or never be allowed to wear shoes ever again? What's the last thing you did for the first time? If you could do anything in the world as a career, what would it be? What's your favorite smell? For me, this is a very easy question. Mine is the smell of coffee as I walk around a cold downtown evening. I know it's very specific. And I'm not talking about New York. I've actually never been to New York. But I love the smell of, let's call it, general fall smell, autumn smell, where the air is very crisp, it's starting to get cold. And then I have a coffee in my hands, and I love walking around a downtown area and enjoying the coffee and enjoying the smell of just the fall, so very, very, very easy one for me. If you had the option to never have to sleep again or never have to eat again, which would you choose and why? This one for me, I think I will go with not having to sleep. And I'll tell you why. Because number one, think of how much time you would save by not having to sleep and how much more productive you could be. And number two, whether it's right or wrong, I associate food oftentimes with friends and family and events, because you think about holiday, or you can think about just maybe a birthday party or an anniversary or whatever, and typically food is involved. So I think if you remove, well, I guess the question says because the question doesn't say the question doesn't state that you can't eat or that you can't sleep. It's that you don't need to, I guess. I go to sleep, I guess. But that's just because I love sleeping so much. And I guess if people didn't need to sleep, then I wouldn't really have a podcast, would I? But if there were no consequences for a day, what would you do? If you were a flavor of anything, I guess, what would you be? Which Pokemon starter would you choose? Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander? What's the first thing you do when you're bored? What's your most favorite animal in the world? If you had to remove one color from the world forever, which Which would it be? What can you talk about for hours? For me, it's probably, well, on a serious note, it's probably podcasting. I love podcasting. I love the production quality behind it. I love the preparation behind it. I love connecting with the community. I love forming a sense of community. I love the business behind podcasting. I love the potential for podcasting. And for me is probably one thing. And then I don't know, maybe the other is like personal finance. I'm a dork. I really enjoy personal finance, and I love the idea of people setting goals for themselves and saying, I want to attend that concert, but I also want to be responsible. How can I handle my finances in a responsible way? And I don't know. It's very dorky, I know, but yeah, something I really enjoy. If you could have dinner with any 3 people from history, who would they be? If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? For me personally, I would choose teleportation. The idea of never having to pack or deal with airports again would be amazing. But, because I don't need invisibility. I don't need, super strength. I don't want to read people's minds. I think if you really get to know people and number one, that's an invasion of privacy. Okay, come on, think about it that way. But aside from being a total invasion of privacy, what do you want to read someone's mind for? Unless you're a street performer and, you're able to, make a living off of that. But what is something I wouldn't believe about you? For this question, emails with your answers would be very welcome. And you can send them to hello@sleepandrelax.asmr.com. Would you rather be able to play every musical instrument or speak every language fluently? For me, it'd be the every language. I think it's really cool, the idea of being multilingual and being able to communicate anywhere you go. What is something you believe that most people don't? If is that where I am? Yes. If you could pick a day to relive over and over again, what day would it be and why? If you could ask one question and be guaranteed complete honesty, what would you ask? If you were a kitchen appliance, which one would you be and why? And how about this one? If you were given $1 million today, how would you spend it? If someone were filming your life up to this point, what would be on the soundtrack? You were given 3 wishes by a genie. What do you wish for? And of course, the rule here, like for every genie scenario, is you cannot wish for infinite wishes. Who would you get to play you in the movie of your life? I don't know. I think sometimes you see people that play other people in, like they're portraying a real person, and a lot of times they don't even really look alike. I mean, Jordan Belfort doesn't really look like Leonardo DiCaprio or vice versa, but I don't know. I guess The Rock, that'd be nice. I'm certainly not as tall as him, nor as muscular as him, but that'd be a compliment, I guess. Maybe Jason Statham, that'd be kind of cool, even though, he's English and I'm not. And now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever heard Statham ever do an American accent, so it would be a compliment for me. That's the only guy at the top of my head that I think is kind of anywhere similar, I guess, in Hollywood. Pretty sure I'm taller than him, but he's a lot cooler than I am, so I guess it's a fair trade-off. But anyway, yeah, I'll go with Jason Statham for that one. Would you rather time travel to the past or the future? For me, the answer is always in the past. I prefer keeping the future a mystery. That is part of the beauty of life, in my opinion. What is the biggest lie you've ever told? What is the weirdest question you've asked someone to get to know them better? What is the weirdest or most unexplainable thing that ever happened to you? The only one I can think of is, well, whatever. It's going to take too long to say that story. If you're really interested in that story, I'll email it to you. If you had a choice, which animal would you be and why? Was the question already asked? Could be. I'm not really keeping track. What crime do you think you'd be arrested for? If you were a transformer, would you need a car or life insurance? Which breakfast cereal has influenced you the most in your life? Well, not influenced my life per se. There's something great and nostalgic for me about Reese's Puffs. I think I used to do homework at night. My mom would just let me eat, Reese's Puffs, while we would watch like Three's Company together and things like that. And yeah, I love Reese's Puffs. If you could have any mythical creature as a pet, what would it be and why? If you could have the power to read my mind, but only if I could also read yours, would you want it? My answer would be no. Where do you want to be in an hour? The only answer to this one, of course, is sleeping, I would hope. What vegetable would you pick for a fight against a 10-year-old? What would make you valuable in an end-of-the-world scenario? For me, it would be my ability to push and lift very heavy items across short distances. The skill set would be used sparingly, I'm sure, so I don't pretend to be some kind of survival expert. What is something you're proud of, but never had an excuse to talk about? What's the weirdest thing you do on a day-to-day basis? What's a question you'd like to answer, but no one asks? If you were invisible for 10 minutes starting right now, what would you do? If you could build anything you want, what would it be? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your favorite color? Stupid question. Do you squeeze the toothpaste tube from the top or bottom? Milk before cereal or cereal before milk? What is something your parents or friends would warn me about you? How do you hang your toilet paper at home? Over or under? What is your third favorite planet? For me, it's probably like Saturn, I guess. When you shower, what's the first thing you wash? For me, it's always my head. What kind of a cult would you like to start? If you were given the chance to change your name, what would your new name be and why? When did you screw everything up, but no one ever found out it was you? Would you rather have a horrible short-term memory or a horrible long-term memory? What would you name your first child? If you could do anything to me without me complaining or anything, what would it be? I didn't quite understand that question, and I'll just skip it. Skip it, 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 skip it. What is the most useless talent you have? What is your favorite joke? What is the weirdest thing you've seen in someone else's home? And the final question, hopefully you're asleep by now. If not, I haven't quite done my job, and I'd like to apologize. But the final question to ask you before you sleep, what is your life's theme song? You let me know. If you'd like to get in touch with me, discuss some of your answers, just connect on some basis, I'm always happy to do that. I love hearing from and getting in touch with listeners from the show. You can email me at hello@sleepandrelax@asmr.com. That's all for this episode. Thanks as always for listening, and take care.